Once, if from many years back, could probably be seen as a foolish error. Twice starts to get more than a little problematical. However, what are we to make of the fact Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has admitted he cannot even recall how many times he's coloured his face to look like a black man, and on one occasion even sang Deo, or the Banana Boat song, while dressed and coloured as a Jamaican. This man clearly has an issue to address. The fact it's the self-styled king of the wokes who weeps openly on TV about the plight of Syrian refugees, hands them coats as they arrive in his country, and chooses to refer to peoplekind rather than mankind is richly ironic for Liberals. Suddenly, their biggest hero on the so-called world stage, now Barack Obama has little to distract him from his golf, is embroiled in a race storm. And they called Donald Trump a racist.
You've been waiting for this all your life.
I admit, I did seize it with relish.
So exciting. Look, I mean, there's so many things that are wrong about this. I mean, to start with, he looks like a complete idiot.
Can I interject for a second? For those who have not seen it, straight back to you. Here he is, the Canadian PM.
That man looks just like... I mean, how many kinds of moron does he look like? On top of that, I think the thing that is most specific, Justin Trudeau's father was Pierre Trudeau, who was the Prime Minister of Canada, who invented the term multiculturalism. And that's why it's become such a big deal in Canada. And if you listen to one of the opposition politicians, let's remember this is Canada. We were talking about extreme language earlier on. In Canada, this is unbelievably extreme language. He's mad.
I am deeply troubled by what this means to Canada. That young kids are going to see not just one or two, but multiple images of the Prime Minister mocking their lived reality. This is so hurtful to so many Canadians. How do you respond to somebody? How do you look someone in the eye that's mocked the lived reality that I've lived, but more importantly, that so many Canadians have lived? I think he's got a lot to answer for.
Yeah, look, I think the truth is Justin Trudeau basically ruled himself out of being unelectable for sheer idiocy. But I will say this, let's not get too over the top about this particular thing. If you are a person of colour, somebody wearing blackface, to be absolutely frank, is kind of what you expect of certain kinds of people. And you're much more concerned, for example, in this country, about the fact that if you are somebody of a Pakistani Muslim background, on average, you're going to earn 30% less than somebody, let's say, of Chinese heritage. That's what matters. This stuff is good fun, but it's not really where the issue is.
I want to bring you in, because one of the many political parties you've graced with your presence over recent months has the word Liberal in its title. You are the nearest I've got to a Liberal. What are you going to do about this?
Well, I pick up on what Trevor said. I mean, the Canadians have got an election coming up. You say this rules them out. I mean, it's a bit like being a parent. You're only remembered for the things you don't do by your kids. We can't just judge Justin Trudeau by this absolute idiocy of 20 years ago.
No, it's a repeat offender.
For however many times he did it. I agree. It's ridiculous.
He's a racist.
It's laughable. I don't think it makes him a bad man or not the right leader for Canada. Would you prefer to have an out-and-out dog-whistling racist rather than somebody who greets immigrants at the airport in Canada, who maybe cries at this plight of Syrian refugees? Frankly, given the choice, I think Justin Trudeau, for all his past,
the thing is, Rachel,
could be preferable. We don't know what the alternative is.
Well, the only point I'd make, Rachel, is Justin Trudeau isn't just anybody. No. He is the son of the man who invented multiculturalism. He has grown up from the time he was in his mother's belly with the idea that you shouldn't do this kind of thing. For him to do this is actually a positive, crazy decision.
It's Christmas for his opponents.
And he was 29, he wasn't 17.
He was 29. We're going to hear from Greg in a moment, but let's hear from Justin Trudeau.
I deeply hurt racialized Canadians, and I am deeply sorry for that. I understand the anger and the frustration of people who every day face discrimination, face anti-black racism, face systemic bias, face face unconscious bias and systemic discrimination. And I recognize that on a personal level, I deeply hurt and disappointed many people who considered me to be an ally, and for that, I am deeply sorry.
Canadian PM Justin Trudeau. Greg Dyke, if a white man colours his face, does it make him a racist?
Well, it depends when, why, how, all sorts of things.
Regularly.
But my view is that I've long believed that people shouldn't be held to account for what they did 20 or 30 years ago in their youth. I mean, I remember going to a fancy dress party dressed as Gary Glitter. Now,
right, the Daily Mail are on it now.
But you didn't know, Greg.
Thankfully,
you did not know.
No, I didn't know. He didn't know. That's what he's saying. I think his apology was quite.
Trudeau didn't know.
No. He knew, but it was a game. He went to some. He should have known.
He's the son
what
of the
about
Canadian...
a white actor 20 years
He was
ago
nearly
blacking up
30.
to play Othello?
Yes.
Would you say now that they can't be on stage?
But that's
why is that?
It's not,
Laurence Olivier blacked up to play Othello.
it's not at all the same thing. He's doing that. It's basically a conscious insult. And for him, of all people in the whole world, to do this is beyond.
It's beyond.
We must get rid of going to be a Jamaican and singing the Banana Boat song. What more do you
I'm
need,
not
Rachel?
I'm not defending it.
I appreciate that the ice on which I am currently skating is very thin, but I do feel like, and I'm going to get myself into trouble and I don't intend to, but I don't know if we're just getting a little bit over the top, because this is a situation where it was a fancy dress situation. Now, I am there like a rat of a drainpipe when it comes to fancy dress situations. I love fancy dress.
Okay, I'll remember that.
I do. There will be many a situation where I've dressed up to look like somebody that is not me. And I will wear wigs and I will wear outfits. I've even been known on occasion to try and change my accent, which has never ended well. Because the whole premise of fancy dress is I'm not insulting someone or being whatever. I'm trying to look like somebody. And if he is what was it? An Arabian Night.
Have you ever met anybody who looks like
what I'm saying,
that?
no.
There is nobody in the world who looks like that. That is straightforward caricature Sambo.
But he's gone to a party.
It's Arabian Nights, not Sambo.
He's gone to a party.
Oh, look at the picture. What Arabian Night looks like that?
I don't look like that.
Maybe that's what he thought Arabian Nights looked like.
Oh, come.
I do feel, and I even feel anxious about saying what I feel, because I feel like you can't even say.
No, go
But I
ahead.
feel like when it comes to racism, most people are fundamentally not racist. Most people are fundamentally decent people. But I do feel like there is a culture where if you say the wrong thing or you're frightened.
You know, I'm with you on that, Michelle. You know, I'm completely with you on that. My point is simply that this particular individual, it's not, it's not a random person. I mean, I couldn't care less what people do. But this particular guy really has done something which he must know.
He grew up as the son of the Canadian Prime Minister. He's in his late 20s. He's already thinking of a political career, and he does it so many times he cannot remember.
So then educate him then, as opposed to ostracising, berating. No, because actually, and I saw a very, very interesting online debate about this from someone who was asking the question. He used to go, do you know...